Welcome back to another episode of Happified, coming to you from the Podatorium. I am joined here in our Podapalooza extravaganza, this time by Melissa Deely, and I'm thrilled to introduce her to you and share a little bit about how women can come back into balance with more insights and information about what's going on inside of our body. Living in a stressful world doesn't mean you have to give up on happiness. Instead, you can shift your perspective of stress and discover how to live your life in flow. Welcome to Happified. I'm your host, Susie Vine. Join me for inspiration and interviews with folks who are shining their light in the world in the areas of positive mindset, health, and wellness. I'm so happy to have you here. What if you could maximize your meditation practice with a tool that maximizes your time and attention with images and affirmations carefully selected to boost your positivity, to help you integrate your intentions into your subconscious? I have a special gift available for you. Visit happifiedlife.com and click on the Start Off Happy button to take a look at the phenomenal technology created by Positive Prime that uses neuroplasticity to literally wire your brain for more happiness, higher productivity, better relationships, and greater success. Head over to the happifiedlife.com page to start off happy with Positive Prime. Enjoy it free for 30 days. Melissa is an integrative mind-body health practitioner trained in NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy, and she's dedicated to helping her clients discover the root cause of their health issue so they can truly heal while detoxing their physical, mental, and emotional bodies. Because as we were just saying, as I was about to hit record, it's all connected. So I love sharing ideas and thoughts and getting other people's perspectives in how we can start to untangle this sometimes messy little knot of dis-ease, of just not feeling well in our bodies. So thank you, Melissa, for joining me.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I can tell already just from what you've explained, we're in such alignment in our work and our approach. And I agree that dis-ease does not have to be a life sentence. And unfortunately, too many people today are being told that by their doctors in regards to their chronic illness. And here you have to take this drug for the rest of your life. And It truly doesn't have to be that way. And that's the message of empowered health that I like to share, and to create a healthier global community, because when we are empowered, we can do a lot more for ourselves.
Yes, I absolutely 110%, because I think, and also as you mentioned earlier, the body is asking for support. And I like
Yes.
to say, it asks for help. And when we don't hear that, it starts making demands. And so
Yes.
I would venture that's probably when you meet a lot of people along their journey, is because, maybe they really feel like they've been sidelined, they've been benched, they've got major health issues going on, or, going back to the topic of women and how we come out of balance, our cycles are so, fundamental to our energy, our rest, absolutely everything. And so when they come out of balance, it can be devastating. And a lot of women don't understand that they don't have to live like that.
Exactly. Society kind of normalizes a few things. First of all, that you wait to get sick, then you go to the doctor, they make you better. And that's wrong. We don't have to wait to get sick. There's so much more we can do so that we don't get sick. And it's not the doctor's responsibility to make you better. We have to take ownership for our health as well. And so that's in partnership with the doctor, but perhaps it's also in partnership with other practitioners that are, maybe more in alignment with the way you want to resolve your health issues, or just having a whole team of people to help you, because we have teams in other aspects of our life. Why not our health? Because it truly is our greatest asset, right? And then society does normalize menopausal symptoms. We're not taught about them the way we are about puberty, because there isn't a school system to teach us. And so we talk to our sisters, we talk to our mothers, we talk to our girlfriends, and they're all having insomnia and hot flashes and night sweats and brain fog and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we think, oh, it's just normal and I have to tolerate it and I just have to get through the other side. And that's wrong, because we are not made to suffer. Our bodies are such beautiful organisms that are actually designed for our best benefit. when we listen to what it's trying to say. And that's where, again, we kind of get tuned out of that with all the other noise and the do in society and getting everything done, that we don't slow down enough to listen and ask questions. Why do I have that symptom? What's it trying to tell me? How can I get the answers? And instead, we start to, have symptoms and feel worse, and we accept it as aging, or we accept it as our genetics, or seasonal allergies, or menopause, or PMS, another indication that your hormones are out of balance. And you don't have to deal with it month in and month out when you know that, and you can do something about it. So I like to say, to your point earlier, it is a journey, and our body first whispers to us gently in the touch of a feather. But if we don't listen, it might come along and thump us with a brick. And if we still don't listen, watch out for the wrecking ball, because it's going to happen, right? And I like to work with people at the feather stage, ideally, because that's the easiest place to come back into balance from and help them, get their health back on track, or the brick stage. But let's not even go to the wrecking ball stage. We don't have to. We can be empowered in our health. And that's my message for people that I really want to get out there, because it's not the way I was taught. And I think it's not the way many people were taught. Mm-hmm. And what we know today from the new science of epigenetics is that it's not all about our genes. We have so much more control than we think. And our genes are only 5 to 10% of the equation. And yet, many people have been told, oh, your grandmother had breast cancer, your mother had breast cancer, you're going to get breast cancer. What happens if we keep telling ourselves over and over again, I'm going to get breast cancer, I'm going to get breast cancer? Then we start to live in fear of getting breast cancer. And guess what happens in our body? We manifest that into happening unknowingly. Versus when we understand that it's only 5 to 10% of the equation is genetics. 90 to 95% is the environment we create inside our body. And when we create a healthy environment with normal levels of inflammation as opposed to chronic levels, when we get our toxins out so they're not festering inside our body, we have a clean body. We don't ever have to have our cells turn on the disease. And that's absolutely key for people to understand, because you have control in 90 to 95% of the cases.
Which is absolutely
empowerment.
Yeah, truly empowering. It's absolutely the opposite of what we've been told and led to believe. And so just to make that such a powerful pivot, that the bulk of it, writing our own health story really is in our own hands when we recognize that and we take that back. And I love that you said too, early on, taking responsibility for our health. A lot of people, well, and what we learn in school and not is a whole conversation we could have too. And so I see so many people giving their power away to doctors, maybe because we feel like we're not educated, we don't know, or we don't know what to ask for, but also because we don't trust ourselves to know what's best for ourselves. We lost that point of communication, as you were saying too, to tune in
with our own body. Exactly.
And be aware of these signals. Like you say, when it's just a feather touch and right, I have a headache. What do I need to do to support myself, as opposed to, it becoming that chronic state where then we don't even question it anymore, which is just so heartbreaking to see what people think that they must live with.
Right. Or I think of people with joint pain and things, right? That it starts off as a little bit, and then over time, it just starts to be every single day. Now it's 24/7. Now it's getting to be more, right? And when I work with people and we lower the inflammation on the body, guess what happens? That joint pain can go away. We don't have to accept it. That joint pain is, as again, a symptom saying something's out of balance. And I get it. We don't know what we don't know, right? And so right off the bat, when you have that symptom, you may not know what it means, but you can certainly work with practitioners that will help you. And you can have more than one practitioner in your life. You still need a medical doctor. It's great to run your blood work every single year and make sure that's all in normal range, et cetera. That helps diagnose disease. On the holistic side, we don't diagnose disease. I don't diagnose anything, in fact, because I'm not a doctor. What I do is, with the power of functional medicine labs, we just look deeper to see where the imbalances are, where the deficiencies are. Are you deficient in minerals, in vitamins? Your omega 3s are deficient. That causes inflammation. Do you have food sensitivities that you weren't aware of that are causing inflammation every time you eat them? Do you have issues going on inside your gut, imbalances that are again causing inflammation and causing imbalance? And when we understand all of that, we can rebalance the body. And once the body is rebalanced, it will heal itself. It's just our modern world has us so sleep deprived, nutrient deplete, stressed out that the body is too deficient. It can't bring itself back into balance. But when we know where the deficiencies are so we can resolve them, bring the body back into balance, it will heal itself. That is what it's designed to do.
Yeah, and that really is the extraordinary aspect of our design, is that
Yes.
when the pieces are in place, and it's pretty simple, that list of pieces, like you said, the quality food, we're short on nutrition, getting ourselves rest so that we can restore and continue to grow and to heal. All of those things. Simple isn't always easy, but our body
Right.
knows how to put it to work and come back to
Yes.
balance. So, yeah, when we
Yes.
can get out of our own way, that
Exactly. And
is a
you're
huge
right, it
gift.
isn't always easy. And that's where being guided through can really help, right? And again, our medical doctors are so busy, they have 15 minutes with you. They might tell you what to do, but there's no follow up, there's no guidance into how to get started, et cetera, et cetera. But when you work with integrative health practitioners and health coaches, et cetera, we offer the support along the way to hold your hand. And I love doing that with my clients because then they can relax into the process. And when we get into the relaxed state, that's when the body can heal because we're getting out of the stress state. And I know you know all about being in the stress state, and the stress state doesn't work. The stress state is a huge driver for menopausal symptoms, right? A huge driver for PMS, a huge driver for, disease because it's causing the imbalances in the body.
Yes, yes, so true. And, digestive issues are directly related to chronic stress. So
Yes,
it really
absolutely.
is. It's also very connected. And I'm curious, in your work with women, because this isn't a conversation I've been able to yet to have on the show. I've talked with some other people who work with people going through that stage and phase in life. But in terms of how stress or how our lifestyle can push us out of balance to make PMS and menopause situations worse, what do you see as you're looking at these results coming back? Where do you see that the body has come out of balance through the lifestyle that most women are living in?
So typically what I am seeing is I am seeing something called estrogen dominance, which means we have too much estrogen and not enough progesterone. And sometimes what I will even see, particularly in menopause, is I will see estrogen is low, but progesterone is even lower, which still has us in a state of estrogen dominance. And we do not want to be in that state because when we are in that state for too long, it starts to impact our thyroid and slow our thyroid, slower metabolism, weight gain, right? It starts to put us on the path of type 2 diabetes. It can and is a known cause of breast cancer, right? So we really want to understand this and resolve that estrogen dominant state. And the way we get there is directly related to stress. Because when we're in that chronic stress state of fight or flight, our body has to produce adrenaline and cortisol in order for us to be able to get to safety. Well, that takes a lot of energy. So it shuts down other systems in the body. So it shuts down our immune system, which also takes a lot of energy. It shuts down digestion because we don't need to eat anything when we're trying to get to safety. And it shuts down procreation because we're not going to stop and make a baby. And it needs to make more cortisol. So it does that at the expense of making progesterone. It's called the progesterone steal. So we get this extra cortisol made and we're not having progesterone made, but estrogen is still being made. That's why we get into this state. And in addition to that, in today's toxic world, we have a lot of skincare products, plastics that mimic estrogen. And so our body thinks it's estrogen, which then further kind of pushes that estrogen out. Plus, there's foods that can be very high in estrogen that are healthy foods. And we're just not aware of that. And we're eating them and it's further pushing our estrogen up. So this is how we get into this state. And then with the lab testing, we use saliva in order to test our hormone levels. And in the same lab, we can use blood work in order to test all 4 thyroid markers, insulin markers, vitamin D levels. All of those. So we're seeing all those systems all in one lab, which is a lot of powerful information. So we know exactly how to then use natural herbs and food to rebalance the body. And that can typically take 4 to 6 months to do, but we're not guessing anymore. We know exactly where you're at. We know exactly why you have the symptoms that you're having, and we can start to mitigate all of that. And I've done this with hundreds of women, and they love it because within just a couple of weeks, they're starting to feel better already. The body responds very quickly when we give it the environment to heal.
Yes. Yes. And, to your point, I mean, within a couple of weeks, they can feel a difference. Within 4 to 6 months, issues can begin to resolve. Medications can begin to become unnecessary. We're
Yes.
always working with the full healthcare team, right? We're never foregoing one and diving all into the other, and all things balance. But it's really remarkable it's all so connected. And I'm so glad that you referenced, the influence that our environment has. Chemical influence in our homes is something that I'm really passionate about. People don't recognize the influence of plastics and fragrances and how these endocrine disrupting chemicals can influence our bodies. And it's just one piece of the puzzle, right? Like you're saying, then there are foods that are high in estrogen, even some of our favorite essential oils. Lavender essential oil is a phytoestrogen. If you're diffusing it all the time because you're stressed out, your body's receiving that in ways we don't understand. So it's so helpful to have someone with your experience and tools and kind of like pull out a spotlight and say, this piece, when we shift this, that ripple effect is going to lead us to a whole new place. And just, wow, think of the possibility, right? Like moving ourselves out of this resigned place of, I heard my menopause is going to be rough, and I guess this is where I am now,
Exactly, where we just tolerate it. But people can be in menopause for 8 to 10 years, right? From perimenopause right through until the symptoms are fully gone. Once you've gone through menopause, it can last that long. Those should be the best 8 to 10 years of your life, really, right? You should be high energy, highly productive, and fully thriving. And too many women are unfortunately really suffering and tolerating the symptoms, not realizing that they can do something about it. And, to your point, when I work with women and we do this over 4 to 6 months, the goal is to wean you off the supplements, or at least most of them, once your body comes back into balance. And this is my own journey with hormonal migraines and my own imbalanced hormones that I've, worked to resolve over the years. And it's powerful to be able to do this and take your life back.
I just checked the time. We're supposed to keep these short. You and I could go on for hours. I know. As you said, we are definitely birds of a feather, and I love knowing about you and the work that you're doing, and would love for people to be able to easily connect with you. We'll have those links in the show notes, but let folks know too where they can find you online.
Well, my website is yourguidedhealthjourney.com. And I also have a gift for the audience. They can take their toxic load quiz, discover your toxic load, to see where you're at, because that's good information to have. And it invites you into a discovery call with me in order to review your results and consider next steps. You can find that right on the homepage of my website, and I'll also give it to you to put into the show notes.
Wonderful. I love it. Thank you so much. So glad we got matched up in the Podatorium. There are no coincidences. I love the synchronicities of this day and this awesome event. So thank you.
I love it too. Thanks so much, Susie.
Take good care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks for joining us today. To learn more about living life with less stress and more flow, visit happifiedlife.com. Subscribe on your favorite player to catch the next episode as soon as it's out. Sharing really is caring, so please rate and review the show while you're there. And if you know someone else who would love it, please pass it along. Until next time, my friends, keep on shining.